Hey friends, it's Lisa again. We are on chapter 2 of Retired and Free. One of the things I forgot to mention yesterday is that this book is by Pedro Adao, but also by Rami Khalil, his mentee that he became friends with many years ago through another business. And Pedro's story of mentoring him is quite remarkable because Rami came to him asking for to take him to lunch and to ask him about his road to success. And what Pedro did is turn around and said, "You know what, kid, I know what you're doing. I appreciate the offer for lunch, and we can go to lunch, but what I'd really like to tell you about is my failures." And that started this remarkable journey of mentor and mentee, which turned into family, which turned into incredible financial practice that has changed so many lives across the world. So I wanted to make sure I mention Rami as well. He's a huge part of this movement that we're a part of. So chapter 2, retirement. Whose idea was this anyway? A tire shop owner of over 30 years put a sign out that he would be retiring and that the shop would be closing. His customers were sad to see the shop close as it had been in the community for decades. After a few weeks of being closed, the shop was reopened and a new sign was put out. I retired from retirement. I wasn't doing good at I wasn't good at doing nothing. I love that. By the way, there's no word for retirement in the Bible. Did you ever know that? You might be surprised to learn that retirement, in the way that you and I know it, is a relatively new concept. Historically speaking, the concept of retirement in the United States, where one leaves the working world for a permanent life of leisure, is only about 80 years old. German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck first invented retirement in 1880s. At that time, the average male lived to only 46, and the qualifying age for his retirement plan was 70. With life expectancies this short and benefits only available at age 70, it's easy to see how this plan could be sustainable and even profitable, given that many more people would pay into this retirement plan than would ever live long enough to qualify to take money out. The idea looked fairly good, so it caught on. America imported the idea in 1935 under US President Franklin Roosevelt with the creation of the Social Security Administration. What might have been the reasons behind bringing over a system like this? While we're sure there were many reasons and benefits for introducing the Social Security Act of 1935, let's consider not only the benefits Social Security made possible for U.S. workers, but also some of the significant benefits that were created for major manufacturers and the U.S. government. With the Industrial Revolution in full swing, corporations desired younger, faster working employees who could keep up with the machines to increase output and profits. Older workers were not as quick as younger workers. However, due to seniority, every job being held by an older worker prevented a younger worker from having that same job. The big companies realized older workers were costing them lots of money in missed profits due to reduced production. So big business went to the government to ask for help in removing older workers from the workforce. We suspect the government liked the idea because if corporations could produce more and create higher profits, this would in turn create increased tax revenue for the government. You hear my dog? He's not too happy about that either. Therefore, Social Security was birthed in 1935. Male life expectancy in 1935 was 63, and Social Security benefits only began at age 65. This plan was a big win for corporations and a win for the government, as it would not only benefit from the increased tax revenue, but would also be able to pile large reservoirs of money, since many people who would pay into Social Security might not live long enough to ever take that money out. Sometimes a big win for big business and a win for government is all it takes to get new laws enacted that in turn get promoted to the public as something that is in our best interest. In its original design, Social Security was designed to pay someone an income for an average of 2 to 5 years. Did you hear that, friends? 2 to 5 years, and certainly no more than 10 years max. Today, it has and will become even more common for people to collect Social Security benefits for 20 years or more. You might be wondering how the first people to receive Social Security benefits felt about their new benefits. Well, history tells us that there was some opposition to the Social Security plan. Many workers saw it as a form of socialism and therefore were against it for political and economic reasons. Additionally, a great many older workers resented being forced out of the jobs they enjoyed and refused to take their Social Security checks. Is it possible that the idea of a traditional or normal retirement as we know it today seems to have its origins in part in what might have made sense for large industrialized corporations and government? Just because retirement makes sense for big business and for the government doesn't automatically mean that it is what's best for you. Wow. There is now mounting evidence that traditional retirement might actually have negative health consequences. Here are just a few reasons and studies that suggest why you might want to consider retiring the idea of retirement. I love that. Retire the idea of retirement. As we've just learned, the idea of age based retirement came during the Industrial Revolution, a time where most work being done was physical in nature. It was more plausible that eventually the body slows down and might not be able to keep up with the physical demands of most of the jobs at that time. Today, many, if not most, jobs are not nearly as physically demanding. In a Forbes article called Is 75 the New 65? Now the definition of aging is changing. Andrew Scott presents a well laid out paradigm as to why an adjustment to our concept of aging is warranted. In his book, Age Power: How the 21st Century Will Be Ruled by the New Old, Ken Ditchwell calls traditional retirement, an intellectual wasteland, referring to the tremendous amount of wisdom and experience found in retirees that is going unused. Why are we sharing all this with you? Are we saying traditional retirement is bad and should be avoided? No, no, absolutely not. But what we are saying is that we don't think traditional retirement is right for everyone and should not be accepted as the default and goal for your life. We don't believe a continuous life of leisure, void of meaning and contribution, is a good idea. Additionally, it's not fiscally feasible for many people approaching retirement age to fully retire from money making activities and will maintain their current lifestyles. We would encourage you to not accept traditional retirement as the default plan for your life just because it is what you think you're supposed to do. Retired and Free is about helping you determine the lifestyle that will produce the most amount of peace, joy, and fulfillment in retirement that is also financially viable and sustainable. For many of the people we see in our financial practice, maintaining some form of earned income past normal retirement age just flat out makes the most sense to maintain the quality of life they desire for as long as possible. In later chapters, we'll demonstrate just how much financial pressure can be removed from your life by maintaining even a modest amount of earned income well into your retirement years. We often have people tell us they are on the work till I die plan. Usually it's said with a smile in an attempt to make light of their financial situation, even though this statement is often accompanied with a smile or a chuckle. We believe, in most cases, the people who say this have a deeper sense of regret or shame, perhaps, for not being able to afford a traditional retirement. Individuals who have not saved enough to live out what society has deemed to be a normal retirement, therefore, have failed to properly prepare. While we certainly advocate for saving money and planning ahead, the fact is that many people have not been able to put as much money away as they had hoped and have retirement savings below what is necessary to live this so-called ideal retirement lifestyle. Business failures, divorce, that was me many years ago, layoffs, health issues, supporting parents or children are just a few of the many reasons we have heard for why many people have not been able to put as much money away as they would have liked. If you find yourself in this situation, we encourage you to stay with us through the remaining chapters of this book. While this book will have powerful information on how to manage money and other financial assets to maximize your income and freedom, it will also be full of great ideas and strategies if you have already decided that working into your retirement years is best for you. Retirement readiness and sustainability. If you've already retired or are fairly sure that you do want a traditional retirement, let's take some time here to see if, in fact, your financial resources as well as your financial lifestyle desires are a good match for traditional retirement. Considering the following questions regarding your retirement readiness. Do I or will I have sufficient income to support my living expenses without needing to earn additional income? Do I have sufficient emergency money put away in addition to the money I have income in case of an emergency? Is there anything that, regardless of my need or desire for money, I enjoy doing enough that I would want to continue doing throughout my retirement years? I think there a lot about travel. Would you be able to continue to travel? How passionate and satisfied am I about the work and life I'm living right now? Does what I am presently doing bring me fulfillment? If not, how could I begin to spend more time doing things I am more passionate about while still being financially responsible? When is the right time to retire? I get asked this a lot. There is a well-known saying that states timing is everything. While timing might not be everything, it is certainly important and can play a significant role as it relates to your retirement plans. Important considerations regarding the right time to transition into retirement include, but are not limited to, the following considerations. How old are you? And maybe more important, how old do you feel? How is your health? What is your situation at work or with your business? Do you enjoy what you do or are you miserable? Are you making good money that would be difficult to replace with Social Security and or other guaranteed income sources? What is going on with the financial markets and the economy overall? Are your investments and retirement accounts going up or going down as you enter into retirement? How are your key relationships with family and friends? How will retiring impact these relationships, either positively or negatively? What will you do with all this free time? How strongly do you identify with your work, your career, or your business? What is your plan to stay free from purposeless living? What will be your reasons for getting up in the morning, your motivation for being productive, and for continuing to contribute to your life and to the life of others? Can you afford a traditional retirement? That should be a big one. Do you have a solid income plan that will actually work? And how do you know? Have you made a realistic budget to understand your monthly fixed expenses as well as discretionary expenses like travel, eating out, and other fun activities? How did you do with these questions? If answering these questions were not so sure you will or will continue to enjoy traditional retirement, we have provided a handful of ideas for lifestyle decisions that could represent powerful alternatives to traditional retirement that might be a better fit for you. Option one, keep it rolling. If you enjoy your current job, consider continuing to work into your retirement years. If not full time, you might be surprised how often and open your employer is to part time and maybe even work from home scenarios. Option B, make a move. Don't enjoy your current job or business? Make a move. Don't keep doing the same old thing expecting to get a different outcome. Venture out and find a part time or full time opportunity doing something you really enjoy and are passionate about. Today, there are so many ways to connect to people and organizations that are doing something you want to do. Option C, start a business. Consider starting your own business or partnering with someone in a new or existing business, doing something you are passionate about. I really believe in this, especially the idea of leveraging what other people have built. We don't have to do it all. Sorry, that was just a little Lisa commentary. With the internet now coming into maturity with business and media and social platforms, there are so many ways to connect with people and create income doing something you are passionate about. It is never a bad time to start a business. This was said by Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, as some of us know him, best-selling author, successful entrepreneur, social media expert. Before you dismiss the idea of becoming an entrepreneur in retirement, here are just a few examples of other people who created great wealth with businesses they started in their 50s and even 60s. Colonel Harlan Sanders launched Kentucky Fried Chicken at age 50. Momofuku Ando invented instant noodles and instant ramen at age 61. Peter Roget created Roget's Thesaurus at age 73. Ray Kroc founded McDonald's at age 52. Laura Ingalls Wilder, one of my favorite little stories and shows, published the Little House on the Prairie series in her late 60s. Love that. John Pemberton invented the Coca-Cola beverage at age 55. If you know your working days are over and don't feel compelled to start a business, then consider volunteering or helping out family members or friends in a meaningful way to maintain a sense of purpose and contribution throughout your retirement years. Before you make the decision to hang it up for good, make sure you are not giving up on your dream. You know, the one you don't really want to think about but keeps nagging at you, the one that you just won't be able to forgive yourself for not pursuing. If you have a dream like this in your heart, then we would encourage you to pursue it with a sound plan and wisdom, of course. Failing to pursue a lifelong dream and living a life that pleased others instead of being true to oneself is the biggest regret hospice workers hear when caring for people in the last days of their life. Don't let that be you. I have to tell you something that when my mother was dying, I remember laying on the bed with her, and she had a brain tumor that affected the areas of her speech and logic. And I hadn't really heard my mom's real voice for about 10 months at that point. But in a moment of absolute clarity, she said to me, "Honey, I have no regrets and I'm ready for heaven." And I just had to pop that in there because that's something pretty remarkable to live a life with no regrets. We hope the information contained in this chapter, as well as your answers to the retirement readiness questions, are beginning to provide you with insight into the type of retirement lifestyle you are best suited for. If you have not retired, then revisit this chapter and continue a dialogue of self-discovery around these questions. These questions should most definitely be discussed with your significant other if you have one. If you're already retired, we hope these questions can provide either confirmation that you are living the right retirement lifestyle or creating an opportunity for rethinking retirement and coming up with a lifestyle change that will produce greater joy, peace, and purpose. Let us now turn our attention to the financial considerations of living the retired and free lifestyle. We'll see you on chapter 3.